Hello everyone, in this video we're going to draw a kangaroo. Start by drawing a circle as a guide for the top part of the body. To draw the circle, first make two small marks to indicate the circle's length, and then on the sides make two more small marks to indicate the circle's width. Then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. The circle doesn't have to be perfect, but if you're having trouble drawing it, just trace the outer edge of a coin, a bottle cap, or anything else with a circular edge. On the bottom left side, draw a bigger circle as a guide for the lower section of the body. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle too. First make 4 small marks to indicate the sides of the circle, and then connect the marks using curved lines to finish the shape of the circle. Sketch lightly at first so that it's easy to erase if you make a mistake. Also, pause the video to draw at your own pace. On the top right side, draw a smaller circle as a guide for the head. Use the 4 marks method to draw this circle as well. This circle should be about half the size of the first circle. Line up the circles diagonally. On the right side of the head circle, make a small mark for the first part of the muzzle. Connect the small mark to the head circle using curved lines to finish the guide for the muzzle. This guide should be similar to an arc on its side. Draw a sloping line across the entire head. This is a construction guide that will help you place the facial features later on. Connect the head to the body using curved lines to create the guide for the neck. Curve the line on the left to make the shape of the head wider. On the top left side of the head, draw an arc as a guide for the first ear. Kangaroos have big ears, so don't make this arc too small. On the right side, draw another arc as a guide for the other ear. Under the circle at the bottom, draw a long angled line as a guide for the hind leg. This line should be very long in relation to the body. The shape of this line should be similar to a big letter L. To the right, draw a similar line as a guide for the other hind leg. Make this line slightly smaller. Under the circle in the middle, draw an angled line as a guide for the arm. Bend the line a couple of times to indicate the joints. To the right, draw a shorter angled line as a guide for the other arm. Connect the circles in the middle using long curved lines to finish the guide for the body. Make the top line longer and more curved. On the bottom left side of the body, draw a long curved line as a guide for the tail. Draw the line going downward and then curve it to the left. This line should be long in relation to the body. And that's it for the guidelines. Now let's start on the final drawing. Inside the head, lightly sketch a small oval for the eye. Place the eye on the top right side of the head near the top edge of the muzzle. When you get the size and position of the eye right, darken the shape. Draw a thin shape along the top part of the eye for the eyelashes. Darken the rest of the oval but make it more angular. Draw 2 short lines on the bottom right side for the inner corner of the eye. Draw a few short lines around the eye for the eyelid and fur. Keep these lines close to the shape of the eye. Inside the eye, off to the side, draw a tiny circle for a highlight. In the middle of the eye, draw a small circle and shade it in for the pupil. Shade in the rest of the eye. Don't overlap the tiny highlight circle as you shade the eye. Use a value that's lighter than the pupil when you shade the eye. Near the tip of the muzzle, lightly sketch a small triangle for the nose. When you get the size and position of the nose right, darken the shape. Draw a small wavy line on the left side of the shape for the nostril. Darken the top part of the nose using short strokes to indicate fur. Make the bottom tip of the nose pointy. Under the nose, draw a line that curves to the left for the mouth. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the line when you get the shape right. Use short strokes as you darken the mouth to create a furry texture. Don't make the mouth too long. Draw a short curved line on the right side for the front part of the muzzle. Under the mouth, draw a short curved line for the chin. Follow the path of the initial arc as you draw the chin. Use the arc on the top left side as a guide to draw the first ear. Darken the arc but make the top part thinner. Extend the bottom part of the ear so that it's inside the head. Draw a series of short strokes inside the shape for the ear's furry opening. Darken the arc on the right to create the other ear. Make this ear slightly thinner and pointier than the initial arc. This ear is facing away from the viewer, so don't add anything inside the shape. Use the other shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the head. Darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the head. Make the top of the head flatter than the initial circle. Draw a short curved line to the right of the eye for the brow. Darken the bottom edge, but make it slightly thinner than the initial arc. On the left side, draw a curved line that's made up of short strokes for the furry jaw. Use the angled line under the top part of the body as a guide to draw the arm. First, lightly sketch the shape of the arm around the guideline. Make the top shape wide and then gradually make it thinner toward the bottom. Curve the shape of the arm around the guideline to create the joints. When you get the shape right, darken the lines. Use short strokes as you darken the arm to create a furry texture. Bend the shape near the middle to indicate the joint. Draw a short curved line on the top right side for the shoulder. At the bottom, draw a series of small shapes that curve to the left for the fingers. Not all the fingers will be visible from this angle. Make the tips of the fingers pointy for the claws. Use the line on the right as a guide to draw the other arm. Draw the shape of the arm around the guideline. This arm will be hidden behind the body in the first arm, so only draw the visible section. Extend the top of the shape toward the neck to create the top part of the arm and shoulder. Use short strokes to create a furry texture. Use the L-shaped line under the circle at the bottom as a guide to draw the leg. First, lightly sketch the shape of the leg around the guideline. Make the top part of the leg wide and curved and then gradually make it thinner toward the bottom. Bend the shape of the leg around the guideline to indicate the joints. At the bottom, curve the shape to the right to create the foot. When you get the shape of the leg right, darken the lines. The top part of the leg should be inside the body. Use short strokes as you darken the top part of the leg to create a furry texture. At the bottom, keep the edges of the leg and foot close to the guideline so that the shape is thin. Make the tip of the foot pointy for the claw. Near the tip of the foot, draw a small pointy shape for another toe. curve the shape of the leg around the guideline. Use the line on the right as a guide to draw the other hind leg the same way. Draw the shape of the leg and foot around the guideline. Sketch lightly at first and only darken the lines when you get the shape right. The top part of this leg will be hidden behind the body, so only draw the visible lower section. Make the tip of the foot pointy for the claw. Add a small pointy shape near the tip of the foot for another toe. Now use the remaining shapes and lines as guides to draw the rest of the body. Simply darken the outer edges of the guides to create the shape of the body. Don't overlap the limbs that are on this side of the body as you draw the underside. Use a few short strokes to create a furry texture. Darken the line on the bottom left side for the top edge of the tail. Add another curved line at the bottom to finish the shape of the tail. Make the shape of the tail wide and then gradually make it thinner toward the tip. The overall shape of the tail should be wide. Now erase the initial guidelines. The next few steps are sped up so that the video isn't too long. Don't worry about erasing all of the guidelines. It's okay if you leave some behind. Redraw any of the final lines that you may have accidentally erased. Now shade your drawing. Use a medium value to shade the body. Shade the nose using a dark value. Draw a dark stripe-like section across the muzzle. Leave the front and side of the muzzle blank for the white fur. Shade lightly at first and gradually build up to darker values. For light values, push down very lightly on your pencil, then push down harder for darker values. Shade the underside of the body using a very light value. Use a dark value to shade the hands and the tips of the feet. Add a slightly darker value throughout the body to create some shadows. Shadows will give the figure more dimension and volume. Pick a light source as you shade so that the shadows are consistent throughout the body. Here the light source is coming from the top, so most of the shadows will be on the underside of the shapes. Draw a cast shadow at the bottom using a medium value. Shading can be time-consuming, so be patient and take breaks. Keep shading until you're happy with the result, and that's it for the kangaroo. Don't forget to pause the video to draw at your own pace. Also, please visit howtodrawanimals.com where every step of this tutorial is broken down into an individual image. That's how, and then the number 2, then drawanimals.com. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying my books on Amazon. I'll leave a link in the description below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thank you for watching, and until next time, keep drawing.